Hey everybody, it's Rev from Into Gaming. This is part 2 of the loot spawn system from Pubg. Um, in this video, we're going to be covering the whole spawn configuration, the spawners, get into the details of those. As far as adding to the map, configuring them, taking a look at preset configs, going through the RNG aspect of it. How does the RNG work in a system like this? Um, I mean, it's going to touch a little bit on loot tables with that because I have to. It's part of the RNG. Um, but we're going to do a follow-up video, video 3, completely covering the loot table um, aspects of it. Why do we have them and so forth, and some other dynamic aspects of it, resources and stuff. Also in this video, I want to definitely do that multiplayer view that I mentioned in video 1. I just forgot to do it, kind of ran out of time keeping the videos short as possible. A lot of info, um, makes for a long video, you know. But I'm going to do a multiplayer run through real quick, 2-player dedicated server setup. And then we're definitely going to end up, I think, closing on this. We'll be doing the practical application for those buildings that I set up back here. Um, we'll see. Hopefully, I'll be able to have time to do that. But I mean, it's good to see that. Um, if I don't get it in this video, then I'll probably slap it over into actual video 3 and then push loot table out to video 4. Um, that might be a better way to do this anyway. But anyway, let's get into it. Adding to a map. I kind of showed this a little bit in. Um, you know what? Let's just merge that right into this building aspect. I'm gonna go ahead and just give you the basic layout of these buildings real quick. Um, it's just simple little buildings here. I don't have anything set up in it to spawn. Um, I just whip these up pretty quick with basic geometry and a few static um, mesh cubes and whatnot. They're not all that complicated. Um, I don't have crouch, so I can't jump through the windows. I didn't set that up, but they're identical in every aspect. But so there's the buildings. Sweet, they got some decent flow to them, and they'll be good. They got the space to do these things. So adding spawners. Let's just pop in here. Boom. I added a spawner. Hey, it's in the map now. Um, can't argue with that. It's there. I'm gonna lift it up, and we're gonna snap it to the floor so that nothing spawns in the ground. So that's as easy as it gets. And I'm gonna play this real quick, show you something with it. Um, by default, the parent spawner, which you can see down here, it's the parent. And I have a child over here. The parent spawner, there's nothing in it. The only thing that's it's pretty much set is a default one item to spawn. Um, and I just tripped it, and you got the little message, loot list is empty. It's a little debug thing that I popped in for level design aspects, just debugging that whenever I trip something and it says loot list is empty, that just tells me that it's not configured. Um, and I should configure it or delete it because it's a waste of resources having it in the map if there's nothing that's going to spawn in it. But boom, loot list is empty, covered. I wanted to make sure that I showed that. Max item in the spawner config. Max items to spawn. That's the total number of items that are going to be picked from this list once the list is set up to be actually spawned. So if it says 1, there's only going to be 1 item chosen to spawn. Whether it spawns or not comes into the validation aspect of it through the loot table. um, if it's in the loot table and if its availability is greater than 0. Change it to 2, it's going to be 2 items chosen. They could be the same item chosen. Specifically, if I just set one item in this list, that's a guarantee that that's the only item that's going to spawn. So I'll just show that real quick. I can go into here and I'm going to spawn a shotgun and play and get out of that collision radius. I'm going to show it real quick. It's right there. They're engaged. Boom. I spawned a shotgun and I spawned ammo with it. Great. Awesome. Now, just because I have that setup where it is picking one weapon, and ammo wasn't part of that deal, any weapon spawn that uses ammo will spawn the appropriate ammo for it in a range of 1 to 3 packs. That's just a basic setup. PUBG does this too. You'll never find a weapon spawned in PUBG that has no ammo with it. So I got 2 there. So this right here just completely shows that you can spawn specific things. If I wanted to, I'm gonna pop a shotgun over there. Actually, let me do this. M9 or a Colt 45. Boom. So I have in this corner, I have set up to spawn either a Mossberg, a Beretta, or a Colt. And I'll go right here, and I want to go through no gear. I don't have gear set up. I want a health kit or a booster. Let's see, a vert grip, a red dot. Here I'll do an extended mag or a smoke grenade. So each one of these is configured. So I put 3 right there together. This gives me guarantees that something's going to spawn for each pile, but what actually spawns is it's going to be random based on what's in that list. So this is just one way to set everything up. So I got an M9, I got an extended mag, and I got a grip out of that setup. Now I can come over in this room and let's see. Let's go with a Bison, a G36, random ammo, throwables, and that. So I'm going to pick 2 things out of this one, and I'm going to go into its extent here, and I'm going to scale it up a little bit. Right there, and we're going to play this. So this is, basic kind of configuration. Boom. I got a shotgun with 3-pack ammo, a smoke, and a booster. And on this one, I got 2 freaking flash grenades. Let's play this again. A little red message over here. Good to go. This time I got a G36 and a flash. And yeah, G36 flash. And over here I have the shotgun, obviously, the extended mag and vert grip. So that's basically, configuring it out. I mean, you can do whatever you want on your spawner. I mean, I could set this bad boy up to have one of everything, actually. Oh, I need to get the Bison in there too. M4, K7, the U, and I need to get the gun wheel. Boom. There we go. Attachments. I think there's extended. I got one more. Vert. compressor, red dot, and a 15. We'll make sure to go ahead and just pop 3 on this. And ammo, I don't want to throw anything in there. Smoke, flash. So that almost represents, other than ammo, everything that we have available to actually spawn. And I definitely want to take this spawn extents and increase it when all that stuff piled up together and play it. Oh, I hate when that happens. I have to click to make sure that it sticks. So I got 3 things, 2 weapons and a flash. So I mean, you can set these things up to do whatever. You can literally go into this list, and if I wanted to make higher probability for an M9 to spawn, if I'm just like doing weapons, so I have everything in this list, but I pop a few more M9s up in that bad boy. Play it. Boom. And M9 is in there. And set it to 1 thing. See what kind of probability I get. Got lucky, got a bison, but by doing that with the list here, I'm increasing the probability. So if I can have the randomization aspect of it to have, every type of weapon in that list, but I can also weight that particular list to lean towards a specific thing more than anything else. So I mean, this list, it's an array. It can be endless number. I mean, the larger the list it is, then obviously the more time it's going to take to compile the actual build list. So, practical application of setting these things up, and you would go through the whole building, and each place that you want things to spawn, set something up to spawn. It's pretty straightforward. Now, let's just play this and see what kind of probability I get off this guy. And there's that M9. I've weighted it so heavy with M9s that the likelihood of an M9 spawning is pretty high. There it is again. There's a whole lot of M9s in there. So the chances of it being picked are a lot greater than anything else. Just making, everything else in this list a lot rarer. Now, as far as how the RNG aspect of it works, actually, no, we're going to do presets real quick. Let me dump this guy. A preset would be like this guy down here. Its preset configuration is for meds and to spawn a booster. Let me get in that, and I'm just going to drag him in. It's the same as this. Basically, to create a preset, what you would do is just create a child blueprint class of the parent. Create a child, and we're going to name this one S-Weps. And this is going to be a weapons based one, and we're just going to jump over to its spawner config. So basically in the parent is where you set up all your variables and everything and what you want, and that basically, because I have it in a category called spawner config, that's why we have this spawner config. And when you drag them into the world, you have the spawner config in there. So whatever you do in the parent class is inherited off to the child class. So these two down here are children, so I can set up these basic presets with it. So for this, I'll say there's one thing, and it's gonna be weapons based. So um, let's leave it M9, Colt 45, or a Mossberg. So this is gonna be my tier one, like low tier, weapon kind of stuff. Um, so that's always going to spawn a booster, and this will always spawn one of these. See how it's pre-configured? S meds, and over in my world outliner, I can just see it. S meds, so it's a med based one. BR loot spawner is a parent based one, so by default it's not configured. Everything in it has to be manually configured. The max count and what's going to be in this list, if I don't configure, it's going to be empty. So that's just like doing the preset. So we're going to get a booster over here and one of the lower tier weapons here. So we got an M9 and a booster. So I can create an endless amount of these different little actors, and the whole point of doing those is to make level design a little bit easier versus, if the level designer had to come through and manually configure from scratch every one of these little spawners that they pop into the world, it would get tedious, and it would be a slow and tedious, painful process. So doing presets that kind of give you, some kind of a basic setup that you can kind of just like go with and maybe tweak one or two things in it, no big deal. I'm not having to, pop this thing in and actually go through this list. Oh, it's got to have this many weapons, and it's got to have this much gear, and this much meds, and hey, I might want to throw a throwable and an attachment in there. Doing all that, is tedious, and then going through the list. So I can take S weps and say, okay, well, I know it's preset for these weapons here. Let's trick it up and add a booster to it, and maybe a flash grenade. Change this. Boom. That was a lot faster than creating this list from scratch. A lot faster. Done. Saved. Hey, it's in there. Have a nice day. That's the basics of presets. Now, the RNG stuff, flat out. This is the literal process that I'm using in this. It's going to be very similar. The actual logic might change a little bit, but the outcome, the actual result, is pretty much the same. We take our list, whatever. Let me pick one that's got a little bit more stuff in it. Alright, say we got this list. We have a weapons list, ammo, throwables, and meds in this. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 items in that list. So building the list. When the collision is triggered, the event is fired off, first thing the server has to do is build the loot list. And it's going to take all these items and add it to a single list, and that will be the loot list, and it'll be in this exact order. Whatever the configurator is that you see here, that's how they're going to be listed in the array that the server is going to use to pick from. Once the list is built, we shuffle that list, so we rearrange the order. So booster pills might be on top, and G36 might be at the bottom, and then Bison might be the second item in the list. It just gets shuffled. We randomize the order. From there, we're going to do a for loop. The loop is based, how many times we loop is based off of this number here, 2, 3, etc. And that number represents how many items from that list the server is actually going to pick. So if it says 2, it's going to do 2 loops. If it says 3, it's going to do 3 loops. And it's going to pick through the same list. So we might get G36 twice out of this. We might not. We might get 2 booster pills, or 2 flash grenades, or 2 9mm. Ammo. 2 packs of ammo. Or we might get a Bison with its auto-generated ammo and 9mm again picked from the ammo list. So that's the basic process of picking. Then we go into the process of validating, spawning, and updating the loot table. Validate. We check the loot table to see if the item is actually in the loot table and its availability. So is there any stock in the loot table for us to take from? Hey, I want a G36. How many G36s are available in the loot table? Hey, we got 5. Okay, I want one of them. I'm spawning one of them. Now I need to update the loot table and deduct one from G36s to make it now a 4 count in the loot table. Boom. That's the process. Check the loot table for availability. If available, spawn the item, update the loot table, deduct 1 from the item count for that specific item. And that's pretty much the straight up process of that. So I think that right covers everything. If there's any questions on this, and if I do another video a little bit more detail on certain aspects, please let me know. But I believe this is going to conclude video 2 for the PUBG loot spawning system.